So this park right here that we're entering into is Thurston Park. And this particular entrance is right off of this residential area. And it is a bottleneck when we are going into the park. However, it's a pretty short bottleneck, but you won't be able to see who's coming around this corner to the right-hand side. And to the left, there's also a little bit of reduced visibility. Right, getting into the park, you can see that there's a fairly large play structure for everyone to use, but it also opens up to have this really big field here. On the other side of the park, there are a couple of entrances, and there is a sidewalk that goes across that end of the park, as well as a path to one side that exits the park. So when you're working your dog, keep that in mind. If you're using this front field, there are places that people can walk around you to access the park or to, use the park. So to this side, we have quite a large field as well, right in front of the play structure that is usable if you have a dog who's a little bit sensitive. This path loops around the back end of the park and actually goes all the way to the other side. So what you'll notice in just a minute is it's open. There's a huge field there. Be careful because there are squirrels here, so if you have a dog who has some overexcitement or some impulse control issues regarding squirrels, that may be an issue. There is another entrance here that comes off of another residential area, and it's also a short bottleneck, so keep that in mind if you're using that entrance or if you live in that area. It may not be ideal for you and your particular dog to enter the park from that side. This other side, though, you can see we have one path here, and we have a path over there where it looks like there's another entrance, which is another bottleneck into the park. But you have this whole field to work with right here, and there's also this big field over here, and you can always step away to use this field in the back if there's someone using the path and it's impeding your dog's ability to work. So there are several different ways to get into this particular park. Of course, I always recommend that you guys scout it yourself before bringing out your dog and just sort of get a feel for, what's going on in the park that particular day if you have a dog who is very sensitive to those things in the environment. So there are a lot of ways to get into this park, and some of them do have a bottleneck. There's one there, there's one there. We've already seen one in the corner, and then of course the entrance that I used to get in. On this other side of the park, it is also a sidewalk, and it is quite easy to get into the park from there. There should be, on most days, at least a space or two to park your vehicle and get your dog out into the park. So overall, there's plenty of space to work your dog, even if they do have sensitivities, and there's a lot of space that you can get away from anything that your dog is sensitive to and ways to avoid triggers that they might have. It's especially a good park if your dog is sensitive to vehicles, since the only place that they'll be experiencing vehicles is near the road, and the road is over there and also near the front of the park. So there's quite a wide area here in the middle of the park where there are no cars at all and no real way for your dog to see them. So you can always play with distances there if you have a dog who is sensitive to vehicles. Since this park has several well laid out paths, most people will be restricting their movement to these paths, although I'm sure in this particular park there is some people who will be cutting across things, but luckily there's plenty of space to move how you need to support your dog while you're at this park. Overall, it's a great park to use, and I do recommend this one. Just be aware of where all the entrances are and plan accordingly for your individual dog's needs.